have a bit that you want to do?
Do I have a bit? Do I have a bit? I am going through a bit of a withdrawal. Yeah.
What methamphetamines, cocaine, heroin? What are we talking here?
No, I obviously need those. No. No, I quit like processed sugar.
Ooh.
Yeah, like 2 weeks in, or like a week and a half. It feels like 2 weeks.
How
And yeah. What?
how are you doing? Jesus.
I am like in, I don't know. I'm like,
Are you in pain?
I'm not in pain, but I am like I have been twitching a bit. My farts smell like nutmeg. I'm in
So
yeah, it's been interesting 2 weeks.
what are you eating? Like what I understand you're avoiding processed sugar, so are you just eating like all natural stuff or what?
No, like I'm eating like spices and like meat and stuff, but like just not like candy bars and stuff
Oh,
or
so just like
cookies
reduced
and
sugar.
things.
Or are we talking zero sugar whatsoever?
Zero reduced sugar. Like I'm like reduced sugar, you know. Like I'm eating fruit, but I'm not eating like, stuff.
How do you drink your coffee? Do you drink it black?
I add some Splenda or like stevia, which is like the alternative. It's been interesting,
Okay.
but yeah. So but I'm like, I'm like, you know.
What made you decide to quit processed sugar? I don't understand. Why?
Uh I started having some back problems, which I
Back
never had
pain?
before. Yeah. And like, yeah, that was a big thing. Then I went to like the doctor and I was like, "Hey, do you think it was because of my car crash?" And the doctor was like, "No." And I was like, "You suck as a doctor. Like, I need to be validated by like a
What did you
medic."
say?
No, he just said like, I mean, it could be caused by age, it could be caused by weight, and I was like, "Well, I can't change one of those." So, yeah.
But I mean, you're not like heavy, heavy. Like,
I'm tall, so it hides it. I'm actually quite heavy. So,
all right, but
yeah.
you don't have a gut. I've seen people with big guts that don't have back problems.
Yeah, I don't have a gut. I don't want to have one. So
But that's
like,
what I'm saying.
yeah, but like I could eat healthier, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna use this show as a way of like next week I want you to ask me if I stayed loyal to this thing and that we're gonna publicly shame me if I don't, and that's what's gonna help me. What is that?
It's a marker. I'm gonna put down Chema,
Yeah.
sugar, question mark, Monday. So I will not forget. Folks, I have a whiteboard over there. You're just gonna have to go with me on this. I have a whiteboard, and if I will remember to ask you on Monday to see if you have kept up with your promise of a diet. Also, if I can give one recommendation,
Yeah.
do you go to the gym? I'm assuming no.
No,
You walk.
I am, what?
I know you walk a lot, right? Like you run and stuff.
Yeah, I do some cardio. I started to do some weights like at home. I got back into swimming,
Mhm.
which I can do again because it's summer.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. So yeah, this is your invitation and to our listeners to publicly shame me if I don't stick by this for another week. Because like I should be able to stick by this for another week. Like I have this willpower,
I
I think.
I believe in you, but I will tell you this much.
Yeah.
Um, as someone who has also had lower back problems, I'm not as tall as you, but I have had lower back problems.
And don't you forget it.
For, you know what? For those of you who can't see, I'm flicking off Gemma. Fuck you. Um, work out your lower back. Like figure out what exercises you can do without a gym and work out your lower back. Just because we're taller, it does affect. Like when we run, if we arch forward, that fucks up our lower back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
It's
would
just
recommend work out your lower back to try and reinforce that. That way you don't have back problems. That's what happened.
it's just it's just a fucking curse to be this tall and this attractive and this, charismatic and this knowledgeable. Like it's just
I'm glad you understand my pain.
it is, yeah, I mean,
It's hard to
I'm
have a full
like
head of hair.
I mean I'm a few inches taller, so I gotta like, gotta memorize it. I must have a full head of hair. I better. I fucking paid for it. So
Well, I
all
mean,
right,
the thing is also I feel like I have a little more muscle definition than you, just because
you
I have
do,
this
yeah.
heavy ass ring on my finger.
Oh wow. Oh fucking wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh. I love you, Trevor. Hit the fucking intro.
Amazing.
You want to hit the intro?
I'm gonna take the sadness that I'm feeling and I'm gonna make some impulsive purchases that I'm gonna be able to afford because it's not gonna go to a child's mouth. Well, thank you for welcoming us into your headphones.
Oh fuck! You gotta start. You gotta
Fine.
do that again. I'm laughing my ass off here.
Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema.
I'm a soon-to-be father.
And this is Maxine. This is the rollback.
Holy shit!
Hollywood is a killer. A 1980s Hollywood adult film star and aspiring actress Maxine Minks finally gets her big break, but as a mysterious killer stalks the starlets of Hollywood, a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past. So we have MaXXXine, the third film in Pearl, movies that were shot back to back, and then finally we got Maxine a couple of years later, following the story of X, starring Mia Goth, Elizabeth Debicki, Moises Sumney, Michelle Monaghan, Bobby Cannavale, Halsey, Lily Collins, Giancarlo Esposito, and Kevin Bacon. We have finally closing out this trilogy that we didn't even know was going to be a trilogy until one day we were just told. And yeah, following up the highly stylized X and the highly stylized Pearl, we have highly stylized Maxine. I had very interesting expectations for this. I want to talk to you about how you felt about it. I mean, we both liked X and Pearl. I think I liked X a little bit more than Pearl. I know you liked Pearl a little bit more than X. And now here we are with Maxine. How did you feel about Maxine?
Okay, do you want me to tell you how I felt going into it, or how I felt leaving?
Both. Why not?
Man, I had such high expectations going into it, and the first two acts really worked for me, but the third act, like, dropped the fucking ball, I feel like. And we'll go into detail when we get there. But this movie feels a bit of a disappointment.
Really?
To me, at least. And I'll go into why. And I know you always tell me you should enjoy a movie for what it is rather than what it could have been or what you would want it. But I I think general public sentiment to the film from other reviews that I've seen kind of agree that like oh fuck. And we go from there. And folks, for those
That's
of
what
you what?
that's what I was gonna say. Like, public opinion is that this is not as good as X, and Pearl public opinion is that the movie kind of drops the ball. I have my own opinion, and which is my expectation for this movie is the first two were highly stylized period pieces. I mean, period pieces. X
Mhm.
takes place in the 70s, and Pearl takes place in the what, 50s?
1918.
1918. Jesus, like way back, way back. They're
Yeah.
both highly stylized, very vibrant colors, very much inspired by movies of that time, like the 90s slasher or the Wizard of Oz. And what I knew going into this is, okay, we're going to continue the story of Maxine from X, but also it's going to be later. It's going to be in a different decade. And most importantly, it's not going to be the same style as the other two. It shouldn't be. It doesn't need to be. And I focus. There we go. Yeah. So I figured if I got something that's stylized and that it's its own and that it's not the same style as the other ones, I'm kind of good, you know?
Mhm.
The thing is that those are appealing in a very different way because they are not a thing that we've seen a lot of. You know, we
Mhm.
haven't seen an 80s, 70s throwback. We haven't seen a 1910s throwback. We have seen enough 80s throwbacks made today,
Mhm.
you know? And that I think to me doesn't drop the ball. To me, this is not a bad movie. But it is something that we've seen before. We have seen the 80s crime drama. We have seen the neon lights and like the over glorification of Hollywood. We have seen the cocaine. We have seen the call girl stripper porn star turned actress. We have seen the religious cults. We have seen things like this. And I don't think we have seen a movie like X or a movie like Pearl before, or at least in a way that like that made it come out. This feels like we've seen a lot of before, but I don't think that makes it bad immediately. It just makes it fall a little short than the other two. And I think it would have been way less of a whiplash if it had been taken 2 years to come out. You feel the same way?
I I agree with you there. I think part of it though might have been the marketing because it was marketed as like we're getting this individual killer, which I guess technically we got. Folks, we're going to be jumping into spoilers left and right. So
Yeah.
here's your spoiler room warning right now. Three, two, one. Fucking Kid Cudi's the killer. Believe it or not, he came back to slaughter Maxine for her crimes. JK, it wasn't Kid Cudi, it was her father. Um, which I like the fact that he was brought back. I like the fact that they revealed at the very end of X that her father was the preacher. I mean, was it X? Yeah, at the end of X that her father was the preacher. I liked all that, but
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I want to start with this. Um, the Hollywood space. I really liked it. They did to Hollywood in this film what the Batman did for Gotham. They made it feel like a character. And I feel like we really got this grimy, ugly side of Hollywood that maybe it's just me. I don't think we've seen very much of. I don't remember the last time I saw a porn star turned actress, in a film.
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of like, girl goes to Hollywood to get famous and shit hits the fan, but she's actively starting from the bottom and working her way up. Which I'm also kind of surprised she didn't parlay the fact that she survived a Hollywood slaughter to become a big movie star. I would have assumed like, hey, let's make a movie based off this series of events and you can star as yourself, And then the killer's like, what's wrong with you? Why would you do these things, you whore or whatever? I don't know. I imagine something different. I still liked what we got for the first two acts.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. The 2 years definitely didn't help. But what about you? What was your interpretation when you were sold on the movie through the trailers and everything? Like, what was your mindset going into the film?
So actually, I skipped the trailers for this one.
Fair?
Yeah, I was able to not watch them, and I was able to like because I'm like I'm sold already. Like of course I want to see it already. Because when I heard that they made the prequel when they made Pearl, I was like, cool. Like we've never. That's cool. Like that's interesting. But then they said, oh, the next one's going to continue the story of Maxine. I thought like, well, where does she go? Where does she go from here? It's interesting that like this is the angle I decided to go to. And I think Ty West really wanted like that, like, hey, he made a really cool trilogy. Because like the closest thing that I can think of is like something like Fear Street that we got a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's to me like the closest thing that we've got into this. Even like we're using the same actors and everything. But I will say this, like for everything that I like about the movie, Mia Goth, right at the center. Like when the movie starts and like those big gates open up and like she walks in, she like sits down, like immediately I just went like, that's a fucking movie star right there. Like that right there just like really like embodied like a lot of self-confidence and a lot of stuff. And I thought she was great in the last two movies, and I thought she was great here as well. That I think should be mentioned. A big thing is the cast for this one. Elizabeth Debicki plays the director, who I thought was great. She is one of my most used gifs So last year she won like an award. I think it was at the Critics' Choice Awards, and
Hmm.
she couldn't believe that she won. So she did like this delayed reaction where she like stood up and she couldn't believe it, and she like walked in like not believing it. I use that gif a lot, so that's like a big
It,
thing.
it's pronounced
Uh, I will quit the show right now.
Do it. Walk.
I will quit this show right now.
Go ahead. You have to
Uh,
pay me 50% of the payout.
I don't think I do. I never sign anything.
Your signature on this forged document says you did.
That's you don't know where I live.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah, she's good. Also, Michelle Monaghan and Bobby Cannavale play the detectives, who I thought were a lot of fun. They really added that like goofy 80s
gumshoe
kind
shop.
of thing. A couple of the victims played by Halsey and Lily Collins are there too. Lily Collins I thought was super fun in this because she kind of always tends to play like the goody two shoes character, so it's kind of fun to see her play more of a bitchy character. Um, yeah, so she's good in that too. And Giancarlo Esposito plays Teddy, who's Maxine's representative, I guess, manager.
Manager
Um,
slash entertainment lawyer, I guess, sort of. He just helps
yeah,
people.
I love this actor, but I feel like after he was in Breaking Bad, they always cast him as the same guy, and I'm like, he's so fun. Like, let him play fun characters. So
But
it's
see,
cool to like, yeah,
but I
but
like the fact that he was in this because part of me was waiting for him to turn on her, but he never did. He was always like,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm in your corner here."
yeah, he's a friend. He's good. I really liked him in this movie. And then at the end, there's Kevin Bacon playing John Labatt, who's a PI. This was probably my favorite element of the movie. I fucking love Kevin Bacon in this movie. He
Mhm.
was so funny and he was so in character. And I love when an actor like this plays such an out there character. So it's so fun. I love this character.
This was the second time I've seen Kevin Bacon killed in less than 24 hours.
I know. I saw Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, huh. Kevin Bacon dead multiple times in the same weekend. Fair enough.
Yeah. It's like it's someone like he was playing, which is funny because like he's so forgettable in the Beverly Hills Cop, but he's
Yeah.
so good in this. It's
I
amazing.
actually like the fact that he was so like they didn't even try to pretend like who's the bad guy. They were like, no, 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 it's Kevin Bacon. Like
It's
we're
very
gonna say
obvious.
that he's a dirty cop. We're gonna say it at the very beginning. Kevin Bacon's the
I,
bad guy.
I mean, it's the only kind of cops that exist, but so
Is Axel Foley a dirty cop?
Axel Foley is a fictional character, Eddie. Get with the program.
God damn it.
Anyway, no, back to Maxine. Yeah, Kevin Bacon's great. I like the cast. I like how the movie looks. I like how the movie is straight up has a lot of balls to like be really out there. Like both X and Pearl have very intense, physical, gory scenes, and I like how Maxine didn't like step back from that.
Mhm.
Like that scene where like Maxine gets like cornered in the alley.
Oh, I want to fucking talk about that. I loved
Yeah,
that scene. The anti-Black Dahlia. Like Jesus Christ. And I love how some people might call her gratuitous. I say fair fucking enough. Dude had it coming. She made him strip down in the middle of the alley, perform a certain act on a gun, which he deserved. And then she stepped on this asshole's testicles, which again, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, justice, but was it brutal? Fuck yeah.
quite brutal.
Very.
But in a way that feels kind of like I like that it was like a physical effect, that it was very out there. Like here's the thing, I went with two friends,
Mhm.
and on my right side there was like five women,
Mhm.
and when that scene happened, like the girls next to me, even they were like, oh god, like even that hurt. Like
But I heard a couple gasps in the theater when that happened. It was like, again,
yeah.
we're not saying the guy didn't deserve it. He definitely did, but to to see it happen,
It was
you
actually quite funny because like there's a moment before where she like pulls out a gun and she points at him, and she goes like suck on it. And he starts like sucking on it. Like he could have just put it in his mouth. He didn't have to like
yeah.
pop back and forth. It was actually like I'm like, okay, all right, guy, go off, But it was just funny that like it went there. And then yeah, he was there. I forgot to mention Moses Sumney, who plays Leon Green. He was really good in the movie. He played Maxine's friend from the video store. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was good too. Um, yeah, this is yeah, there's scenes like that. Um, I think that's like what ends up really connecting it back to Pearl and to X, because like those movies also have those intense physical scenes. And that I think helps keep like a little bit of continuity in here.
Yeah.
But it does very little in everywhere else, because this movie I think is very much its own. I don't know how it would feel to watch this without having seen X,
I
but
don't know if it would have worked.
you think so?
You could have, but there's no way you would have been anywhere near as invested. Like, I don't see anyone else being as invested unless they knew the story going in from X and Pearl. At the very least, X, preferably both, obviously. Because
Yeah,
the
because
whole
I feel
theory.
like
Hmm?
because I feel like you can watch Pearl without seeing any of the other ones, and like a bunch of us saw X without seeing Pearl. So I don't know. It's this trilogy exists in a weird space and time. You okay?
No, all good. No, I was just reading. So apparently they're planning on a part four. We can talk about that later, but there will be a part four, actually.
What?
Ty West already came out and said that he's planning a fourth part. Did you know that?
No. Why?
I have no fucking clue. Apparently, he already has plans and intentions to do a part four
But of what?
of the MaXXXine trilogy. Apparently, he feels like there's another story to be told. I don't know what though.
I don't know. Don't think so. Doubt it will happen. In the
I
same
don't
way
know.
that the Harry Potter show will not happen.
But no, but
Yeah.
to go back to your point though, so you really think people could just watch Pearl by itself and then jump into this?
No. No, no, no. But Pearl by itself, yes. You can watch Pearl without seeing anything else. But if you watch Pearl, you might as well see X. And if you see X, you might as well see this. This is a very interesting case of like, much like Star Wars, like it was just released all out of order. And this, we're trying to just piece it together. This movie makes sense by itself. I don't know how many people were in the theater without having seen the other ones. I'm guessing not a lot.
Mhm.
But then again, it was hard. I went to the theater, it was full of minions, and I had to like kind of push my way so I could see this one. Um, I there are a couple things I didn't love about the movie. Like I'm not saying it's bad, because of course this is kind of like working for me, but the fact that the villains are like an evil, like religious cult that believe they're gonna cleanse like Hollywood and the world of like sin. Like obviously I believe that. Like I obviously think that's what every like a several religious organizations are. But I feel like I've seen it a lot.
Uh,
And even to the point where like I felt like the preacher, I forgot the preacher was her dad. I forgot the preacher character even existed. I haven't seen X again in a while, so maybe that's why. But
mhm.
like to me, it wasn't fresh in my head. I really thought it was going to be Esposito, but like I don't know.
Well,
It was just
and
interesting.
I like that Esposito was cast in that role because most conventional wisdom dictates he will be the villain. So for him to just straight up actually be a legitimate ally the whole time, I like that. The whole religion aspect of it is pretty unfortunately topical, especially today. There's a part where, and I want to get better with this. The director, Miss Benedict, even tells her like, "Hey, you understand? You and me, we're the underdogs in this, right? Like we're both trying to break into a hard industry, and we don't have the luxury of second chances. If you try to fuck me over, I will drop you in a heartbeat because I don't have time for your bullshit." Um, and there's something to be said that, hey, this woman that's trying to take charge of her life and tell her own story is being talked down to and forcibly, changed by this religious cult. Like, there's commentary there, and it's not hard to see. I just, I feel like we've seen this movie, and again, you can argue, hey, that's your fault for going into this, watching the trailers. I feel like Maxine is such a great, she's the anti-final girl to me because at the very beginning, that one scene where she steps on that guy's balls establishes her as someone not to be fucked with, someone that is confident. She's not a victim. She is someone that will fight back. The part where she beats the shit out of Kevin Bacon with her keys,
Oh yeah, that was a great scene.
fucking loved it. But that, am I right or am I wrong? She is someone that, like, if she says, hey, I'll be fine, you believe it, right?
Hey, look, this is a character that in one of her establishing moments in this movie, like she sits in front of a mirror, opens up a big ceramic duck, pulls out a spoonful of cocaine and just fucking snorts it. And that was a comically large amount of cocaine. Like it was
I legit thought,
insane.
how much is that? Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, that's expensive. Like how, like, is
That's a
that
hell of a down
communal?
payment on a house.
I was like, is that communal? Like, do they all get to share it? Like,
I assume so, but like,
if somebody takes a last whiff, does that person refills it like a Brita? Like, what's the
what's what's the communal rules for the communal cocaine?
yeah, and why is it a duck shape? And like, this was made by A24, which means that they're going to sell it at some point. Have
Jesus.
you ever been in the A24 store?
No
Oh, they sell
props.
like yeah, props.
Are they replicas
Uh
or the actual props used on the movie? And they're just like, "Fuck it, we can sell this."
no, they're replicas. Like they sell the hand from Talk to Me. And
That actually kind of sounds kind of cool.
yeah, it is pretty cool. I kind of want it on my bookshelf.
You
Uh
know, um,
but yeah, I remember seeing that duck and being like, that's gonna end up in the A24 store. I can guarantee you this.
um,
Yeah.
but okay, I and again, I want to be clear. I will judge this movie based on what it is, not what it could have been. But let me pitch something to you, and you tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Imagine the first three.
You're wrong.
Hey, maybe if the camera would focus, I could tell that you just said I was wrong.
Wow.
That's
Right in my fucking shit. Okay. Go ahead.
but okay. So hear me out. What if, because they built up Mia Goth as this final girl who will not be fucked with, right? Like I am the danger, right? Full on Walter White. What if instead of it being her dad and another religious cult, it was an actual murderer, like just someone that was like obsessed with her, like just a rando. For some, to me, it's scarier if it's a random person because it could be anyone. And I think any woman could relate to that as far as like the creep being anyone. Yeah, that's kind of what it's like. But on the other side of the coin, having her the anti-final girl that can hold her own, she had fucking Viking makeup. That strip around her eyes, that's from Viking lore, right? That's war paint. So for her to wear that and go toe to toe with the serial killer that's murdered dozens of women in Hollywood, that sounds like a great fucking story. And have them go to war in Hollywood in the warehouse or something, in a final battle. But again, she is not to be fucked with. She doesn't back down. She goes at him. Fuck you. You should be scared of me, not the other way around. I would have loved that. But instead, we have her being kidnapped by her father's religious cult, almost exorcised with a finale at the Hollywood sign. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like they were setting up for this grand, like, murderer, and it's just her father. Like, I get it,
So
but I don't
so
know.
let me be clear. Let me be clear. I don't mind that the villain is the father. I mind that I forgot that the father was a character. And that's where I think it really, really requires you to have recently seen X again.
Yeah,
Because like seeing it again, like you get to the ending and you go like, well, yeah, of course that's bound to tease something, you know?
yeah.
So that's my big problem. And I didn't like the vision that she has where like, oh, she's like getting to the red carpet and like she's getting interviewed. To me, it was like a little too perfect. And then they go like, oh well, it's not the actual ending. But then we get to like the real ending, and it's also kind of falls a little short. Like it's just them on the set. Which kind of felt like anticlimactic because I feel like these kind of movies all usually end up in like, I don't know, like they end up high, like instead of like going high, they're going low and then ending. I still didn't hate it. I didn't have a bad time with it. I do see myself rewatching this. But I think it just falls a little short compared to X and Pro, which were such explosions of personality and vibrancy and color and style. And
Mhm.
this one's cool. This one's more Michael Mannish, like LA Confidential kind of thing going on. But and it's less of a slasher, but I don't know. It does still have like a couple of spooky moments. Like I like that whole scene where she's getting like the plaster model of her head done.
Yeah.
That I thought was very like it felt creepy, it felt like scary. It really made you like sink in on the trauma that she went through.
Also, you just made me think about it. So Papa Miller was feeling up his own daughter. It was weird.
That's what you find weird. This whole thing has been like weird
No,
from the
but like,
start.
how the fuck? The whole thing is weird from the start. But like, so you're gonna counsel us on what's good or bad morally, but you felt up your own daughter. You fucking weirdo.
Yeah,
Granted, he's gonna set her
that's
on fire. So who am I to talk?
it's just they've been like this. They've been like this whole time. Hmm. I don't want to see a fourth movie. I think I'm good here.
Well, he said that he plans on taking a bit of a break before he does part four, if he does part four. But I mean, I'm looking at the box office numbers right now. This film cost $2 whole million, and it's already grossed 7.7 mil. Like,
That's pretty good.
I think I'm pretty con. And bear in mind, Pearl. I mean, X's worldwide box office gross was 15 mil against $1 million. Pearl grossed 10 mil against $1 million. And after only 3 days, it's already grossed 7.7. I'm pretty confident that this movie is going to break $10 million and that they're going to do another sequel. I'm pretty confident in that one.
Not against it now, but it's mainly the whole. I don't know. Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing.
Hey man, Ty West, let me write the next one, or at least let me have a swing at that at your script. We'll call it even. And you know
What
what?
would you
Do it for
what would
free.
you write for this?
If I could write part four,
Yeah.
honestly, probably a stalker situation where she gets what she wants. She's a star. But now, like, it's like, no, like some rando's going after her now. Like, hey, you
I'm
wanted
not
fame? You wanted fame? Here's the other side of it. Like, you need to flip it on her. She can't get what she wants, and it's everything she ever wanted it to be. It has to cost her. It's like a drug lord movie. Oh yeah, the money, and then you see their downfall. She has to have a downfall, but it has to come after she becomes famous.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to get in Euphoria season 2, and then we never got. They just like kind of glossed over it.
Season two?
Yeah, still sad about that.
They haven't done season two. I thought they'd done 3 seasons.
No, that's so like season 2 like builds up this whole storyline of Rue like getting drugs from this woman so that she can sell them, but she ends up doing them herself. So it's kind of building up to like how she's gonna pay back this woman, and then the season just ends and with her like doing like a voiceover saying like the rest of the school year went okay, and it's like, no, what happened to the drugs, Rue?
So
Like
they just
Rue,
pretended like it never happened?
what? When was this? When was this, Rue? Anyway, yeah, they just pretend. What would you give Maxine? What would you score?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
If it had landed that third act, it would have been a 9 easy. What about you? What do you score this?
4 out of 5. I think it's better than people are giving credits. I think they wanted another per. Oh, I think they expect. Here's the thing with sequels: expectations can kill the end results of a movie, which kind of sucks because like it's very few times. And also because is this a sequel, but it's like it's also not in a weird way
Mhm.
because it's not carrying over the themes or elements from the previous one. It's just whatever happens to this girl after in a new decade. So I'm trying to see it as like a new movie instead of like as a sequel. Because like I don't care. Like it's just it is what it is. I'm trying to count it for what it is.
Mhm.
And nah, I give it a 4 out of 5. I had fun. And there's a scene in the movie where Kevin Bacon is having breakfast in a hotel restaurant. And Mia God sits in front of him, and I could not tell what they were talking about because all I could think were the gigantic biscuits that were on his table. And man, I miss processed sugar. All right, well, that's gonna be everything for our review of MaXXXine. Next week, what do you want to do next week?
Freddie mentioned long legs.
Oh fuck, that's not coming out here yet.
Did you want to do you have you seen the bear?
I haven't finished it. I'm like halfway through the season.
What season are you on?
Like I'm in third season already, but
Oh,
I'm like halfway through the season.
up to you. I just finished watching all three seasons in the span of 2 weeks, and fuck, that show's good, and I want to talk about it. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, what else is on the table?
Uh, what did you do with Fernie? You do
Long legs.
no wait, today did you do 11 count?
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Do you want to do Quiet Place or have you not seen it yet?
I can watch it. Quiet Place.
Or fuck, what else could we do?
Family Affair.
Guess I kind of want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. Should I see it?
You should judge it for yourself.
I'll see a family affair and I'll text you. If not, I'll try to finish the bear.
Done. All right, so
I'll
folks,
do it.
next week you will either get The Bear or A Family Affair, or we could do Beverly Hills Cop.
Or we could do Beverly Hills Cop. Anyways,
You will get one of those three. Maybe all three.
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
maybe all three. Yeah, depend if I am not passing out due to my lack of.
Sugar.
I need chocolate right in here, man. Like yeah,
You know, and I'll say this: The Bear. I didn't know this. Jeremy Allen White. He's going to be playing
yeah,
Bruce Springsteen. And
yeah,
after watching The Bear, I really liked him in Iron Claw. But after watching The Bear, hey man, you should be very happy. You should be very fucking happy.
yeah. That he's playing one of my favorite rockers in history.
Deliver Me from Nowhere? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna have to put on a very wacky accent for this, but it's gonna be pretty fun. I
I
trust him. I think he will do a good Springsteen.
I am fully confident after watching him as Carmi in The Bear, man, he will knock that shit out of the park and then some.
The thing is that Springsteen in like the 80s, which is the movie's gonna be about when he was recording the Nebraska album. If you see pictures of Springsteen from 1984, I don't say this lightly. That I think is the most attractive a man has ever looked in the history of the humankind. Like that is a hunk. Like that is like look up Bruce Springsteen 1984. Like that is I don't think anyone's ever looked better. So he
1984.
has to represent this. And like Jeremy Allen White is not a bad looking guy. It's just this is a very high bar to follow.
No, I think he can beat that. I would say
I think
I think Carmi's on this level.
we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I'm excited to see how that goes. I hope it does go through, and because I love Springsteen, and I would love to see a movie on his life. I think he's such an interesting guy. He's one of the few people that like I've read his book. Like he has like a biography, and I've read it. And
So, quick question
yeah,
about Springsteen, because you know more about him than I do.
I do. I saw him
Um,
live last year.
so in 1984, is that when he released Nowhere, or is that when he released Born in the USA?
That's when he released Born in the USA. But like he's pretty much he was 70s and 80s. That was like his like big
His peak?
uh his peak, and then he never really stopped. Like in the 90s, he got an Oscar because he did the song for the movie Philadelphia,
Mhm.
the one for which Tom Hanks also won an Oscar. So he did the song for that movie called Streets of Philadelphia. And he kept touring, he kept releasing albums, he played the Super Bowl. Yeah,
Hmm.
he was on Broadway.
So I think it's safe to assume that Springsteen is
He's a beloved American icon. Yes, yeah.
man, again, I have full confidence in Jeremy Allen that he will kill it.
Yeah. Quick recommendation. Springsteen did a show on Broadway called Springsteen on Broadway. And but he pretty much he tells his whole life story, he plays songs, and he did it all in like a Broadway stage. That show was recorded and it's on Netflix and it's available for everyone to see. If y'all haven't had your fix of Springsteen, I highly recommend checking out Springsteen on Broadway, and bring some tissues because it's gonna make you cry, and it's gonna make you call your dad, and it's going to make you feel a lot of things. So highly recommend.
Question: if someone wanted to start getting into Springsteen, where would they start?
You would start with Darkness at the Edge of Town. You would start with Born to Run, Nebraska. And yeah, I would say those three albums. I think those are like the big ones. Watch the music video for Dancing in the Dark, because I think that's like big, big amalgamation of who he is. Also, that video is the first on-screen appearance of Monica from Friends. That's like her first thing that she was in. Springsteen on Broadway. There's a movie called Blinded by the Light, which is about a young man and a young man who discovers who he is by listening to Springsteen, and I highly recommend because it's basically a love letter to his music. And yeah,
If I can give one minor recommendation, the only thing that I know about Bruce Springsteen as of this moment, as of this time of recording, as of
yeah,
July 8th at 7:57 p.m., is Christopher Titus and his set on Bruce Springsteen. He talks about the first time he met him. Bear in mind, he
yeah.
idolizes Bruce Springsteen. Like he idolizes him. Apparently Bruce Springsteen really liked his show Titus. It's the show that him and his son like really bonded over.
Mhm.
Um, I would recommend watching the Titus set where he talks about Bruce Springsteen and meeting him for the first time.
He's just
It's just the
that's that.
dork. It's the
I
funniest
mean,
dorkiest like fanboy thing.
that's boss. That's what they call him. Like that's why they call him the boss. That's his name.
It
So yeah,
it's
big fan of
funny.
his.
He even says like he takes his girlfriend who's like 20 years younger than him. Remember, he's 60, so she's 40. But she was never a big Bruce Springsteen fan, right? So he
Yeah.
takes her and she doesn't know who Bruce is. She's never listened to his music. So he says halfway through the concert, his girlfriend looks at him and says, I would cheat on you with him in front of you. And Christopher Titus is like, I know, right?
Oh,
Like,
also, if y'all haven't seen his performance at the halftime in the Super Bowl, highly recommend it. It's super goofy and he's having such a blast. Have you seen it?
you've told me about it. Something about put down the guacamole.
Yeah, he's like, ladies and gentlemen, for the next 12 minutes, because like it's him and like his backing band. His backing band is called the E Street Band, so it's always Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. So
Yeah.
it's like, we're gonna bring the righteous power of the E Street Band into your home. And it's like, put down the chicken tenders and turn your television all the way up. It's great. And then they're in Florida, like the Super Bowl was in Florida.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so it ends like he ends his set. There's fireworks, there's lights, there's like big ass drums, and then it ends like he just yells, "I'm going to Disneyland!" and just leaves the stage.
I wonder how much the mouse paid him.
It's awesome. I
I'm sure
love
he got
Bruce.
paid.
It's awesome. I love Bruce. Anyway,
That's gonna be
yeah,
a episode on MaXXXine.
yeah. This is not a dig on Maxine. I would just happily talk about Bruce Springsteen any day of the year, any day of the week.
I can't.
Thank you so
At
much
his
for joining.
credit, he has had no big scandals. Good for him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Um, anyways, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chema,
I've been Eddie.
and this was the rollback.
Signing off with a
With a
reminder.
reminder that if you are by any chance into dirty, sketchy, sexy stuff. You can keep religion out of it. You can just, like God will not hate you if you go watch porn and then, come back to church. Like,
Although God will hate you if you're a hypocrite who tries to hurt people, but you try to use religion to justify it.
pretty much, yeah.
Bye, everyone.
You might be thinking, wow, what do you know about God? What do you know about God?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you talk to him earlier today?
Yeah. Ask yourself those questions and then come back. Good night, everyone.
It's the weirdest outros we've ever had.
Really?